Oh, great.
This meeting is now called to order Monday, May 9, 2022. Councilman Vanchery, please lead us in the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. House, can you please read the statement of public notice, please?
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on March 11th, 2022. A copy of the notice was mailed to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the township clerk on said date. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the township website at www.lfnj.com. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Mrs. Kraus, at this time, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Havletts,
Present.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Present.
Councilmember Sieber, Councilmember Vanchery, Council President Scoba.
Present. Mayor Damiano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. This evening, I'm going to jump around a little bit on the agenda, and I'm going to start with our proclamation recognizing Jaleesa of Mo and Jay's Pastry, who, for those that don't know, was on this year's Food Network Spring Baking Championship. And not only was she a contestant on the show this year, but in the finale, which the township hosted a watch party for, much to everyone's absolute pleasure, and everyone talk about an overjoyous room at the moment that it was announced. Jaleesa was named this year's #1 champion and on the Spring Baking Championship, and I want to invite her up here for a proclamation in her honor, because what an incredible thing for the Township of Little Falls to have the nation's spring baking champion right here with us and operating her business here out of Little Falls. So I'm going to ask her and her family to join me up here. Well, if you join us also. And don't worry, we got something for you guys too. All right, and the proclamation reads, whereas Jaleesa has had a love of baking since she was a little girl, baking with her mother and continuing her love of baking in high school. And whereas Jaleesa and her husband met while working in a bakery together and shortly after opened Mo and Jay Pastry, baking in a rental kitchen. And whereas Jaleesa also started Sweet Memories while she was a stay-at-home mom and had the opportunity to share her love of baking with her son. And whereas Jaleesa and her husband found a location in Little Falls and opened Mo and Jay Pastry in 2020 and joined the Little Falls Farmers Market as a weekly vendor in May of 2021. And whereas Jaleesa was invited to audition for the Spring Baking Championship by the Food Network in 2021, and after passing the audition, she went on location to Tennessee to tape the show. And whereas after competing with 13 other baking professionals and baking 2 beautiful and delicious creations in each of the series episodes, Jaleesa was crowned the Spring Baking Champion. And now it is fitting and proper that I, James Belford Damiano, Mayor of the Township of Little Falls, extend congratulations, best wishes, and continued success to Mo and Jay Pastry as they continue to operate as part of the Little Falls community. Congratulations. Want to say a few words?
I just want to say the town of Little Falls has changed our lives. And I can't thank the council people enough, the mayor, and everyone who showed support to our small family-owned business. I'd like to say thank you for being there for us, supporting us, and always cheering us on. Thank you so much.
For those of you that don't know, Mo and Jay's Pastry is located at 44 Main Street. You can stop by, get your pastries, get your desserts. Absolutely, hands down, one of my favorite macaroons in the world. My wife is going to make me go broke buying them for her. They're constantly coming home. But congratulations to you and for the little ones, because they were champions while you were away baking for a number of weeks. Dad's really the one that should get the biggest medal, but we're going to give the medals to the two little ones for having them, for being home while mom was away. Congratulations again. What an incredible accomplishment. We love everything that you do for us here in Little Falls, and we love that you're a part of this community. Thank you. You bet. Congratulations.
Back on. Milton?
One access point guy, the one right up site.
All right, Council President, we have two more proclamations this evening. The first this evening being for Lyme disease. And it reads, whereas May is the time to help bring awareness to Lyme disease and tick-borne diseases. Whereas Lyme disease is a bacterial infection brought on mostly by an infected deer tick with symptoms that may include headache, fatigue, skin rashes, and fever. Whereas the Center for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 476,000 people are diagnosed with the disease in the U.S. each year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor James Belford Damiano, on behalf of the Little Falls Township Council, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month in the Township of Little Falls. For those of you that are not aware, if you are ever bitten by a tick and you have symptoms of Lyme disease, please get to the doctors immediately to get yourself tested. Make sure that you don't have it. It could cause long-term effects and severe joint pain for you in the future. So please make sure that this is something that you have addressed immediately if you believe you've been subject to Lyme disease and the bite of a tick. The last proclamation this evening is the Mental Health Awareness Month proclamation. And as we know, mental health issues are a major issue for us here in the United States, not only here in New Jersey, but of course, across the entire country. It is something that affects many people unbeknownst to the people around them. There are many people suffering from mental illness who go undiagnosed, maybe their entire lives, who may be suffering, again, without their neighbors and friends even knowing. And if you suspect someone is having mental health issues, of course, it's always recommended that you gently approach the situation and encourage them to seek the professional treatment that may help them get better. And the proclamation reads, whereas mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, which can affect how we think, feel, and act. And whereas 1 in 5 adults experiences mental health problems in any given year, and such problems can contribute to onset of mental illness. And whereas 1 in 25 individuals live with mental illness, such as major depression, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia. And whereas approximately 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 3/4 by age 24. Whereas long delays, sometimes decades long, often occur between the time symptoms first appear and when individuals get help. And whereas early identification and treatment can make a profound difference in successful management of mental illness and recovery. And whereas it is important to maintain mental health and learn the symptoms of mental illness to get help when it is needed. And whereas every citizen and community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental illness and discouraged people from getting help. And whereas public education and civic activities can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, James Belford Damiano, Mayor of the Township of Little Falls, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Township of Little Falls. Council President, that is all that I have for proclamations this evening. However, I do have a brief update on some of the traffic issues that have been ongoing here in Little Falls that, if you'll bear with me, I'd like to present an update. So one of the major concerns that are frequently brought to my attention and the attention of this council has been traffic concerns along particularly Main Street, oftentimes during the rush hour. And as many people know, the Route 46 and Route 3 project, the ongoing construction, is causing additional traffic to be diverted from the highway and make their way down Main Street here in Little Falls as people try to get home heading eastbound. It has been an ongoing problem for us, and something that was a simple solution has been effectuated now. And I think over the course of the past 5 or 6 days, as I've been paying some close attention to it, I think traffic along Main Street, at least at the intersections of Union and Stevens, has been greatly alleviated by the traffic light timing being updated to allow additional traffic flow to flow east and west on Main Street, particularly during rush hour, but throughout the course of the day. I've noticed a substantial downtick in the queue and the backup of cars over the course of the past week since this timing has been updated. Of course, I always like to try to compare the weeks in the traffic to similar weeks, meaning it's not fair to compare the school year traffic to the summer traffic, but the last several weeks, I believe, have had comparable traffic. And I have noticed a substantial downtick in the number of cars that are queued up at either of these intersections. Now, with respect to Route 23, I know that the light on Main Street and Route 23 has continued to cause a bit of a backup. And unfortunately, the township doesn't have the same authority to change that timing on that traffic light because it is involved in what is a DOT intersection, because the state highway of Route 23 intersects with Main Street in that location. I had a conference, it was a virtual conference with the DOT, along with Mr. Kuchia and our Deputy Chief of Police, Brian Prawl, late last week. And the DOT has outlined a series of steps that they're going to take in assisting us to better have to really fix the timing of the light in that intersection. During that meeting, we learned that the timing of that light has not been updated in 20 years. So while that light is new during the reconstruction of that intersection that occurred just 2 or 3 years ago there on Main Street, the timing of the light hadn't been updated, even though the intersection was improved. Now, as part of the problem was also that the camera systems that are on the lights that deal with the timing of the lights and the triggering, the cycling of the lights, they actually found, as a result of our meeting the following day, the traffic engineers went there to review that, and they immediately found that there was an issue with the cameras not triggering the correct cycle of the light timing. So that is one thing that has already been fixed. I have not yet been able to determine if that has helped alleviate some of the traffic concerns alone. But the next step that the DOT is going to go through is going to be a visual impact study, meaning they will be there at times of rush hour, at times where there are reported backups, and they're going to visually monitor the backups to be able to best determine what the next step should be. And if it warrants a modification of the timing, they may have to do a traffic study, which may occur at some point in the future. But ultimately, if needed and if warranted, the timing of that traffic light is going to be updated by the DOT, which I really hope will alleviate a lot of our Main Street traffic, particularly that we'd see on weekdays. I know on weekends there is some in the intersection. It doesn't seem to be as heavy as the weekdays, which seems to occur at all hours of the day here on weekdays in Little Falls. And I'm hoping that with these steps and with the guidance of the DOT and working with them to update the timing of this traffic light and this light cycle, that we will see a noticeable downturn in traffic backups along Main Street from the furthest west section of town all the way to the east and vice versa. So with that, Council President, I turn it over to you. As I have additional updates in that regard, I will continue to update this council as well as the public.
Thank you, Mayor, for explaining to the residents what's going on with the traffic lights and the proclamations. Mayor, would you like to talk about that new shiny spanking scoreboard at the new rec center?
Yes, I would. We have Little Falls was lucky enough to have one of our local partners here in the community, ShopRite, donate in excess of $22,000 to install a new scoreboard at the Little Falls Sports and Recreation Complex. It is the scoreboard that is along the large field there. It is brand new. It is state of the art. It provides all the information that you could need for any sports that we have playing on our fields. The older scoreboard really just showed some scores. It showed innings and quarters. This one shows how many yards you have to go in football, what yard line you're on. It has all of the bells and whistles that we could need to continue to operate our facility there. I want to thank our rec director, John Pace, who's joining us here tonight, for all of his work and his efforts in helping to find the perfect scoreboard for that field, as well as our assistant recreation director, Tyler Pissarro, who worked hand in hand with Mr. Pace to really bring that facility that we have been upgrading to become a state-of-the-art facility and really get us kind of across that finish line outside. We will have the small scoreboard being replaced shortly through another donor, Schumacher Chevrolet in Little Falls, who is paying in excess of $12,000 for that scoreboard to be installed. And I really look forward to these finishing touches being put on the fields there. And ultimately, with the improvement that we're hoping to make to the playground there at the recreation center, ultimately having a completely state-of-the-art facility here in Little Falls for not only the youth to use, but really people of all ages. I do love driving by on a Sunday morning, seeing our women's softball league playing. So we really do have pickleball, although she's not here, Councilwoman Sieber spearheading that. There is always activity at the Little Falls Sports and Recreation Complex all day, all night, and the place looks incredible. And again, thank you to Schumacher and to ShopRite for these new scoreboards and really rounding out the final improvements to our sports and recreation complex.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll move on. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for the public and
So
general
moved.
matters and agenda items moved by Councilmember Quaddy, second by Councilmember Haber?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is a voice vote. All those in favor of opening to the public for general and agenda items, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to this motion, please do so by signify by saying nay. The motion carries. Mrs. Kraus, please read the statement.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. Please give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Please give your name and address for the record. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. The floor is now open.
Luis Fernandez, resident of Little Falls.
Good evening.
How are you? I want to thank, I don't know who, but one of you, I'm sure, had something to do with the fact that the thing that I complained about 2 weeks ago, about that big chandelier with the next day, somebody went from Little Falls, at least he was driving a car from Little Falls, so he must be an official, went there, he put a sticker on the, a red sticker on the box that was there. The chandelier had disappeared the night before for some reason, so I guess maybe somebody took it. But he put a sticker on that big metal box, and within a couple of 1 or 2 days, it was gone. I'm sure one of you had something to do with that. Thank you. And it will be nice if week after week, I wouldn't have to come here and say something that some of the residents should be doing without you implementing the law. It just happens to be, I know Mr. Mayor thinks that I have a vendetta against the gentleman, but it's not a vendetta. It's just that the fact that I'm a proud resident. I want my street to be clean. I want my street to obey all the rules that are there. That's what they are there for. And if I come in front of you and complain about something, it's because something went wrong. Somebody's not obeying the rules or the law or whatever. And I would love to, for that gentleman or whoever is doing it, to obey the rules. It's simple, very simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Does the council have any council members have any comments to the residents' concerns? Mayor, do you have any comments to the residents' concern?
No, other than to say, as I have stated in the past, if there is a concern, if there is something that needs to be addressed, that the public, anybody, Mr. Fernandez, you can reach out to me, and I know you do occasionally by phone, by text, by email, whatever it may be, and it'll be addressed immediately. Unfortunately, that was something that this township or myself and this council for sure had no knowledge of prior to you coming to us. And, as soon as we were made aware, it was addressed. I don't think this is a particular concern where I believe there's a vendetta that you have. I believe that this is a legitimate concern and that everybody is entitled to have, everybody should comply with the laws, the ordinances that we have here in the municipality. And if they don't, they should be penalized for violating them. Again, as soon as we're made aware of these types of issues, action will be taken regardless of who the individuals are.
Mr. Kusia, is there anyone would like to join us?
No, sir.
Seeing no one that wants to join us from the social media aspect and seeing, is there anyone else? Mr. Pace, would you like to come up? Sir, would you like to come up to, Mr. Pace is pointing to you, so I don't know if that means you have to get up. but-
Okay, good evening. My name is Bill Leonard. I live at 384 Main Street. I just had a quick question, and it feels so trivial relative to all the things I'm watching you guys deal with, but I couldn't find an answer anywhere else, and it was recommended I come to the council. Across the street from my house is where all the new developments are being built, the apartments. And I understood just from an article that I had read that there were a certain number of affordable housing units as part of that. And I was trying to find out how to apply for those, and I couldn't find any aspect of the municipality where to do that. And I looked at a lot of different places, so I don't know if one can answer that for me.
Yeah. Mayor, would you like to answer that? Because I don't think we have, they're available just yet, or?
That's correct, Council President. As soon as we have the mechanism set up in which that applicants can begin making applications to apply for these units, it will be sent out in an email blast for residents. So if you're not signed up, I would encourage you to do so. And if you're not, you can go to lfnj.com on the bottom of the page, subscribe to the email blast. That way you'll get the absolute earliest notice of it being posted. But as soon as it is available, it will be made, the signups will occur through the lfnj.com website. There is no sign up portal at this point, but as soon as the company who will be facilitating and organizing the applications is selected, it will be on the website. And you are correct. There will be, and let me just look very quickly. I believe it will be 43 affordable units that will be created within that development. They are affordable. It does not mean that they are subsidized or Section 8. I know that was a question that we had in the past. What affordable means is that the developer not really at their cost, but those units will be made available at a reduced rate compared to similar market rate units. And in order to qualify, I don't have the numbers in front of me and off the top of my head, but I believe a family of 5 who was making $110,000 per year would technically qualify for those units. So this is not something where I know there's been a misconception that this is going to be subsidized housing, that there may be individuals applying for this who residents don't want as neighbors. That is an absolute I think misconception that has been put out there in the past. Again, these units are simply subsidized by the developer. They are responsible, and they were just made available at an affordable rate. So again, this is something that I think will be a benefit to the community. I think there are a number of individuals who may very well qualify, who already reside within the municipality. I think that this is going to be a good thing for this municipality to have available to its residents.
Got it. Thank you.
You bet.
A quick question is there a particular department in the town center here that is handling that? I'll definitely go to sign up for the emails and so on.
A department within the building itself here, you mean? I guess it would be the building department.
No, it won't be us. It'll be,
Reach out to Mr. Kusia.
it'll be established by the developer who's got the responsibility to place those units.
Right, but we will advertise that on the website.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They have to have-
Council President.
Yes,
I
through the
just-
floor, Councilman Quadri.
Mayor, I just for clarification, those units are for rent, not for sale, correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Fernandez, I'm sorry, you have to approach the podium.
Luis Fernandez.
Yes, it's okay.
I know you mentioned the address, the physical, but what development are we talking about?
This is the Singac redevelopment project.
The one where the catering place used to be?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Pace, you're in the audience. Would you like to come up? Thank you. Sure, why not?
Have a good evening.
Just want to let you know that the Recreation Department signed up 634 children for spring sports. That's tennis, that's track and field, it's softball and baseball. And that's not to say the adults. Pickleball is out of this world. I've been in sports 60 years and never heard of pickleball until 2018. First time I ever heard of it. But it's gangbusters, I'll tell you the truth. And we're signing up people left and right for badges. So it's really, I mean, they came back from last year to this year and love it. We do it inside and outside. So the next thing coming up is the Tri-Town Fishing Tournament, which is at Sicaria Park. It's in Woodland Park, and it's Woodland Park, Little Falls and Totowa. We all share in the cost of it, and last year was a big success. Mr. Councilman Kawadi was there last year, and Senator Corrado was there too last year, right? Yeah,
Little Falls resident one,
yeah, Little Falls, yeah, Jacob.
Jacob Zalaka.
Yeah, his fish was about 18 inches, I think it was. So we got trophies for all of that. And summer camp starts July 5th. So if you want kids to come to a fantastic time, we got it all for you. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. See no one else come forward. Can I have a motion to close the public?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Quaddy, second by Councilmember Havelitz. All those in favor of closing the public comment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to this motion do so by signify by saying nay. This motion carries. Mayor, you have two items to come before us this evening.
I do, Council President. The first is a resolution authorizing the advertisement for bids for the pedestrian plaza improvements. The pedestrian plaza is the area in the back of the municipal building, which was, it was anticipated that during the construction of this building that a pedestrian plaza would be created in the rear of this building. It would facilitate an ability to have some additional outdoor events as well as some additional pedestrian safety in the municipal parking lot here. It is a project that, again, has been contemplated since the construction or prior to even the construction of this building. This is something that the council previously authorized a couple of years ago, funding to complete. So there is no new funding that would need to be made available by this council. This is simply the resolution to authorize the advertisement for bids for something that has already been funded by this council. Any questions on that?
Number two, Mayor.
Item number two is the resolution authorizing the purchase of an international 4x6 roll-off truck. This was something that I talked about during the budget presentation this year. The roll-off truck is something that after this most recent flood and storm of Ida became a reality that the municipality needs to own their own roll-off truck. And what I mean by that, for those that don't know what a roll-off truck is that is a truck that carries dumpsters. And following Ida, we had a number of dumpsters that were placed in the areas of town that were hit the hardest by Ida and had severe flooding, so that residents can use the dumpsters to put their damaged items. And unfortunately, because of the incredible damage that had occurred statewide, the demand on the garbage companies and haulers who had placed dumpsters within the municipality, and because of the backup at the tipping stations where they're able to dump all of this material, Little Falls was stuck with dumpsters on its streets that were completely filled, that in the heat of the summer and in those warmer days began to have an odor. And it was something that, I wish that we were able to handle ourselves and have removed from the streets essentially immediately. And to ensure that the municipality is never in a situation again where we're unable to handle our own affairs and manage our own waste, even if it's to store them for a period of time. We are purchasing a roll-off truck so that the municipality can move all of these dumpsters at our will without having to need the assistance of one of these garbage hauling companies. Now, I have become even more educated on roll-off trucks in the recent months as a result of this. And it turns out that there are a number of different kinds of trucks that are available, some with one rail, some with two rails, different sizes, different lengths. The truck that we are intending to purchase here is one that is universal. It does cost a couple of more dollars than one of the vehicles, which is done with either one single rail, a double rail, than all of the other potentials. But because we will have a universal roll-off truck, we will be able to manage essentially almost any dumpster that may be placed on our streets by a hauler. We'll be able to relocate them for storage if haulers are unable to get here, and we'll be able to assist our residents with to the extent that we really should be able to. And that is item number 2. This was included in this year's budget. This is simply the resolution that is authorizing the purchase of this vehicle.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, can I have a motion to approve resolutions A through C?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Hablitz,
Second.
second by Councilmember Kwadi. This is a roll call to approve resolutions A through C. Mrs. Kraus, please call the roll.
Councilmember Havelitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery. Yes. Council President Scoba.
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, at this time, please read ordinance 1436.
Second reading and public hearing of ordinance number 1436, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 29, Handicap Parking.
Can I have a motion to open to the public hearing on ordinance 1436?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Quad.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hablitz. All those in favor of opening to the public on 1436, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to that motion, do so by saying nay. The floor is now open. See no one come forth. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing on 1436?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Quaddy.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Vanchery. All those in favor of closing to the public on 1436, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. This motion carries. Can I have a motion to adopt 1436?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Hablitz, second by Councilmember Vanchery. Mrs. Kraus, this is a roll call.
Councilmember Havelitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Kawadi,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery,
Yes.
Council President Scoba.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Thanks, Council President. Since you had Mr. Pace come up here, I was going to mention to him, a couple things that were going on. I just want to reiterate with the fishing tournament that it's Saturday, June 4th. So, and no, you didn't say it. So I want to make sure everybody knows it lasts bright and early, 7:30 in the morning. It's free to sign up. So just wanted to mention that. And just, as, Mr. Pace echoed a few minutes ago, just all the great success that's been going on at the rec center, with all the athletes in the spring sports. And like the mayor said too, you've got the women's softball, you've got the men's softball, you've got pickleball, track and field, tennis going on, and you have softball and baseball, and then you have the travel programs as well. It is nice seeing all the activities that go down there. And believe me, I find myself there most of the time too with my kids or watching my nephew play as well. So it's definitely a great thing that we have in place right now. So, and there's more to come. Just some items on my end is, now that we're in May, we're getting closer to the events that are going to take place this month. As I've said on previous occasions, we have our concert on Friday, May 27th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Wilmore Road Park. I'm very happy with how this thing is coming together. We've got a lot of participants. We have 2 bands playing. We have 3 food trucks. We have a number of other vendors, local organizations, clubs that want to be a part of this. So it's going to be a great night. And thanks to the rec department's help too, we're going to have our famous balloon lady that's going to be there as well. She was the hit of the party at the Easter Bunny event last month. And I know everybody's looking forward to seeing what she's going to create for them that night. Then the next day, we're going to have our parade at 10 a.m. on May 28th. And immediately following the parade, we will have the annual Memorial Day ceremony led by the American Legion to honor those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Next week, I'm actually going to meet with members of the Little Falls Police Department, our DPW, CERT team, the rec department, and a few others, just to go over all the final details for the 2 events so that we're buttoned up for Friday night as well as Saturday and there's no hitches. A couple other things I do want to mention is I had a discussion earlier today with the New Jersey Jackals. So as I've mentioned before, Little Falls Night is going to take place on Friday, June 3rd. I actually just received a final flyer from the Jackals this afternoon, and I plan on getting that out this week, working with our rec department and also our the LFAC, because we want to make sure
all of the baseball and softball players with their coaches can march on the field before the game. So look for something to come out through the email blast this week. And then the next night, I do want to also mention at Yogi Berra Stadium on Saturday, June 4th, there's fireworks, but it's also the 25th anniversary of the Jackals in Little Falls, New Jersey. So there's going to be another ceremony that night. So we're hoping that people will enjoy the adventure on Friday and want to go back the next night too to celebrate. So more to come on that. One other item too that I'm going to send out via blast this week is that for Pride Month in June, on Wednesday, June 1st at 6 p.m. right outside here at Town Hall, we're going to do the annual Pride flag raising. So that's, of course, welcome to all residents and as well as folks that are not from Little Falls to join us. More details on that as well. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councilman Vanchery. Councilmember Havelitz.
Thank you, Council President. On April 30th, the township hosted its second annual shred and electronic recycling event. It was a great success. There were lots of residents out there. It was so successful, we might be doing one in collaboration with the sheriff in the fall sometime. So be on the lookout for that. I'd like to thank the Recreation Department, Mr. Pace, Tyler Passaro, and the Recreation Department workers for helping with the event. It was really appreciated. Thank you very much. Some upcoming library events. This Wednesday, the 11th at 7 p.m., there is a virtual event, Paying for College Without Going Broke. That is very near and dear to my heart, having a daughter who's going to college in the fall. So it is a virtual event, but the registration is on the library website. And also starting Tuesday, May 17th, there's going to be a happy hour yoga at the library, 5:30 with no registration needed. Please check out the website for the library. There's always lots of events going on from toddlers to preschool, elementary school, and so on. So, and adults, of course. So please check out the library website. The market, the farmer's market, we are happy to say will be starting in just 2 weeks on May 22nd. We have a great lineup of vendors again. And this year, again, it will be including our very own Mo and Jay's, winner of the Spring Baking Championship. And they will have a kickoff that we are planning along with the market with Julissa as our special guest. So please be on the lookout for more information about that, or just stop down by the market on the 22nd. Lastly, I want to give kudos to Councilman Kawadi. Last Monday, we had a very successful viewing party for Mo and Jay's. It had lots of residents. Mo and Jay's baked their famous cake that she won with, and it was a really great event that Councilman Kawadi spearheaded. So thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Havelitz. Councilmember Quaddy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilmember Havelitz. Yes, so, and thank you to Mr. Pace and the Recreation Department. Tyler and I and Mr. Pace worked together to put together the viewing party. It was just a great opportunity for us to rally behind a Little Falls business and celebrate what we found out was her championship run with the Spring Baking Championship. But when we planned it, all we knew was that she was going to make it to the finals. And so we were all thrilled. I want to thank the residents that came out to support Julissa as well, and the rest of the council members and the mayor, because it was a really terrific event. I hope that we get to do more events to celebrate our business community as often as we can. And if you're not aware of it, you should be. We do have a great business community in this town. I encourage people to shop local as much as they can. I personally have two businesses that are part of the Little Falls Business Association, and their efforts to encourage people to shop local are greatly appreciated. And on that note, the Little Falls Business Association will be having their block party on June 21st. We do it every year at the Patterson Ave, the intersection of Patterson and Main. We haven't gotten the mayor to commit yet to the pie eating contest, but we're going to do our best. But if he doesn't do it, we will have a substitute because I like emceeing it. So somebody will be eating a pie with no hands that night, and it will not be me. In addition to that, I met with the Domestic Violence Prevention Committee last week. Please look for them at several of our events this year, including the Farmers Market, the block party, possibly the night before Memorial Day, if we can get some volunteers to staff that. know that they are available to provide information to people who are victims of domestic violence or know someone who is a victim of domestic violence. They are not counselors, but they can steer you towards the right professionals to help address that issue if it's something that someone you or your loved one is suffering from. In the schools, the Passaic Valley High School was officially awarded a drone at the Passaic County Film Festival, which took place on April 30th. I was happy to present it to them when I was wearing a different hat as the co-chairman of the Film Commission. And so this year they won a grant. It was just about $1,000 drone, and I've already seen some of the work they've done with it. It's fantastic. So we are proud to present that to them. And tomorrow night, the school number 1 is having their TREPS, which is the TREPS program empowers children by providing a fun project-based learning experience which creatively integrates entrepreneurship education with the opportunity to apply business, academic, and life skills. So what that means is there's going to be a marketplace tomorrow night from 7 to 9 p.m. At School 1. You can come in, they only accept cash, and you can purchase products that are either made or acquired. I think most of them are made by the students, but they put together a little business plan, they set up, and they sell their wares. And it's a great night. I've been to it several times. I end up giving my son more money to spend at the event than I would like, but it's all for a good cause, and the students really get something out of their entrepreneurship. That's it for me, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Quaddi. The senior advisory is going to be holding their annual ice cream social on May 18th from 1 to 3 at the Civic Center. For those seniors who like to attend, this is a no-charge event. Please reach out to the rec department or call Janet Cohen, who's on the flyer. Again, this is May 18th, and it's 1 to 3. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Quaddi, second by Councilmember Vanchery. All those in favor of opening to the public signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed to that motion signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Mrs. Kraus, please read the public statement.
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. Please give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Please give your name and address for the record. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. The floor is now open. See no one else come forth in the council chambers or on our social media. Can I have a motion to close the public?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Quaddi,
Second.
second by Councilmember Vanchery. All those in favor of closing the public comment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Councilor Wenzel, do you have anything you'd like to share with the governing body this evening?
No, Council President, thank you. Other than I want to figure out how Councilmember Havletts is going to figure out this college. It's certainly not working.
I gather the township's
got
not paying
one.
you enough.
Second one yet to come.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Havletts, second by Councilmember Quaddi. All those in favor of adjourning this meeting, please do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, do so by saying nay. This meeting is now adjourned.
Yes.